What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. Now, today I've got for you two crazy stories. I feel like I say that every episode, but just trust me, when you listen to the first one in today's episode, it is genuinely going to blow you away how insane a couple of the individuals are in this story. I mean, you guys have read the title of this one. You know how crazy it is. Without further ado, I'm not going to waste any more time. Sit back, relax, drop a like on this one if you do go on to enjoy this absolutely insane drama. Let's go. Am I the jerk for cutting off my mother-in-law after she made a joke about poking holes in our condoms? I am a 38-year-old woman, and I've been together with my husband James for 4 years. We are both child-free and do not intend to have kids in the future. When we first got married, we both told our family about how we don't want to have kids and why. My family was fine with it, but his wasn't, especially my mother-in-law, who I'll call Mary for privacy. She's either passive-aggressive or just tells us we'll change our mind soon. For example, telling us, "I can't wait to be a grandma," despite us not wanting children. If we try to say otherwise, she just pretends not to hear us. I've been very uncomfortable with this, and I've told my husband multiple times, but he's just brushed it off by saying that she'll accept it someday. However, it reached a limit. Recently, James was hosting a dinner party and invited his family as well as mine. While we were eating, my mother-in-law jokingly said, "You know, OP, I've considered poking holes into yours and James's condoms so I could be a grandma. It's so smart, and you'd never know." Before laughing, I was horrified. After that, I excused myself and left the house. James followed after me, saying I was being dramatic and it was a joke. I told him that it wasn't a joke and what would happen if she actually did it. We kept arguing for a bit before he stormed back into the house and I drove off in my car. I've blocked my mother-in-law on all social media and deleted her number. The whole family is furious at me now, calling me sensitive and paranoid. So, people of Reddit and people of my YouTube comments and wherever you're listening to this, am I the jerk? Okay, before we get into the update for this one, first of all, let's have a look at some comments. Somebody asked, "Why don't one of you get fixed if you're adamant on not having kids?" A reasonable suggestion, I suppose. OP said, "It's my husband who refuses to get a procedure done. I've already offered to get my tubes tied and other procedures, but he says he's not ready yet and doesn't want me to get surgery either until we're both ready." The "we" there referring to him because I'm only waiting on him right now. Somebody else said, "She said this in front of everyone at dinner? No, you're definitely not the jerk here." And somebody else said, "Your mother-in-law's comments, including the one about the condoms, have all been way over the line and squarely in the none of your business category. Your husband should have handled this with his mother quite a while ago. Now he has no choice." Yeah, you've been together with your husband James for 4 years now. This shouldn't be a thing anymore. Like, surely at this point, James should have told his mum, "You're not having kids." Why is this still a conversation, or why is she still even allowed to say these sort of things? Why hasn't James drummed it into her yet? The comment continues, "Tell your husband the reason you've gone to lengths you've gone, leaving the dinner, blocking his mother on social media, and deleting her, are all because he is failing to safeguard you from her. This is his responsibility because it's his mother. He needs to stop brushing it off. He needs to go see her face to face and say, 'Mum, you are hurting me when you press us for grandkids. We are not having children. That's my final decision. You need to stop mentioning it to either one of us. By mentioning it at dinner, you crossed the line and you need to apologize. Then never speak of us having kids in front of us again.'" Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. So let's get into the update. This was posted actually just 1 day later. First of all, OP says, "Thank you all for the support. I thought I'd give you an update." So after everything that happened, last night I had a talk with my husband about how I want him to take a deeper step into his commitment of being child-free. I've also told him that unless he gets a vasectomy or similar procedure, I will not be having sex with him. I want him to do this to prove that he can stand up to his mother and that he is just as child-free as I am. But honestly, I've doubted that after posting the first story. Not in a rude way, of course. My husband told me that still he wasn't ready yet and that I was moving too fast. And by asking him to stand up to his mother, I was basically asking him to disrespect her for my sake. Wow, gonna be honest, that has slightly shocked me. The having a procedure thing, I do think if you are 100% set with you and your partner on not having kids, then sure, just have a procedure. Although I am a little bit less sort of set on that one because that, I mean, you know, you can potentially get it reversed, but sometimes you can't. So I do feel like you don't necessarily need to do that. However, the not like standing up to your mum and not telling her to stop saying this because it's really hurting my wife is actually insane. OP continues. So then I just asked him if he wanted kids or not, and to stop beating around the bush because I will divorce him and disappear like the wind if he doesn't. That finally got him to open his mouth. And he told me that he did want kids and was just secretly hoping for either an accident or me changing my mind, like how most of you guys in the comments predicted. But what really shocked me is that he told me he was already considering tampering with our birth control, condoms, before, but he just hadn't found it in him to do it yet. So now it makes sense why he only wanted to use condoms for our birth control. Oh my goodness. After that, I simply said that as of now, this marriage is over and I will be filing for a divorce as quickly as possible. And I made sure to tell him that whatever possible child I could have had would never be in his grasp to see him, especially my mother-in-law. He tried to protest, but I was firm on leaving. Honestly, he was pretty much planning to baby trap me. Nice try, but not here, honey. As of now, I'm currently staying at my sister's house. Soon, I'm going to try and find a lawyer for a divorce. But I do know that I can't ever go back in that house with him in it or my mother-in-law. This entire event has left me very shaken and worried. And there we go. That is it for the first post of this episode. Absolutely ridiculous stuff. Let's jump into some comments first of all before I give my overall thoughts. Somebody said, and this is an interesting comment, I mean, it's a bit ridiculous, but anyway, why did you get married if you don't want children? OP said, he had told me before that he didn't want any either, and I thought we were both on the same page. Turns out I was reading a completely different book. Well, no, I mean, he was reading a different book. Actually, to be fair, he gave you the wrong book to read. I think that is the general consensus here. Somebody else said, condoms is the only form of birth control, and then they've included a facepalm emoji. OP says, well, yeah, because he refused any other forms. When I did offer to get a procedure done on me instead, he wanted me to wait until he was ready. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so I waited on him pretty much. And then finally, a proper comment. Somebody said, well done. Well frickin' done, OP. Some people are just cancer on two legs, and we need to cut them out of our lives. Okay, finally at the end there, a little comment that was actually bigging up OP for doing something so brave and amazing, which, by the way, you did. But I've got to say, like, what this guy is saying is genuinely, well, first of all, it's like bordering on illegal. What he's suggesting that he was about to do or was planning on doing, that is SA. There's no doubt about that. Like, you go to prison for that sort of stuff for a long time. It's just insane. Absolutely insane. Maybe it was a little bit more obvious to you guys while you were listening to me read that the husband did kind of want to have kids the whole time, or yeah, at least wasn't conclusively anti-kids. James, that is. I don't know. For me, going along with it, like sentence by sentence, I was kind of just thinking, okay, he probably doesn't want kids, but he's not 100% sure, and he doesn't want to have a procedure because, as I said, like that is irreversible a lot of the time. But now, yeah, reading this, wow, it's just well done for actually saying something and getting out of there and finding out the truth yourself, because you were never going to get it from James. I mean, imagine your partner, you being very, very adamant that you don't want kids in your life ever, saying to you, you know what, actually, all this time I was lying to you, I kind of do want kids. And I was planning on having an accident with you, and actually doing what my mum joked about at the dinner table, poking holes in condoms to have that accident. It's actually crazy. Like, you think you know someone, and then you hear this. Insane. Okay, now moving on to our next crazy story. I told you the first one was crazy. This one, I don't know if it's more crazy or not. It's just probably even weirder somehow. Anyway. Am I the jerk, me, a 27-year-old man, for asking my girlfriend, who is 26, to stop involving her imaginary friend Tom in our relationship? So, when I started dating Sarah, I thought I hit the jackpot. Smart, funny, and gorgeous. We'd been together for about a year, and everything seemed pretty normal. But recently, I discovered that she has an imaginary friend named Tom. I had no idea about Tom when we got together. At first, I thought she was just joking around when she'd say things like, Tom says you're funny, or Tom thinks we should order pizza. I laughed it off, assuming Tom was a goofy inside joke. But now it's like Tom's some kind of relationship therapist that I never hired. We were having a serious talk the other night, and out of nowhere, she said, Tom thinks you're overreacting. I just stared at her thinking, oh great, I'm getting double teamed by my girlfriend and her imaginary friend. So I finally asked her, can Tom maybe stay out of our conversations? Sarah looked crushed and told me that Tom has been her rock for years. Now she's barely talking to me, and it's like Tom's got beef with me too. Am I the jerk for asking her to keep Tom out of our relationship, or do I just need to make peace with my invisible rival? How about that for an original post? As with the first story in this one, there is an update to come, but goodness me. Somebody said in the comments down below, I'd actually be worried that Tom is a persistent delusion, like legitimately a mental health delusion. You're not the jerk, but I was immediately concerned about Tom being a mental health issue. Now, I kind of agree with this. I mean, look, your girlfriend's 26. That's definitely too old to have a genuine imaginary friend called Tom. Even if you carried something forward or with you from early ages when, people do have imaginary friends, I suppose, when they're younger. And even if you were doing it for a while just for like a bit of fun and to comfort yourself, to genuinely say to your partner, oh, Tom thinks you're overreacting here when you're having a serious debate about your relationship or, something's come up that you want to solve at the age of 26. Yeah, something might be going on here that is a little bit too sort of, well, it's more serious than, I guess, just having an imaginary friend. Opie replied to this and said, I've thought about that and it is definitely a concern. She seems fully aware that Tom isn't real, but he still plays a big role in her life. I'm trying to figure out the best way to approach this without making her feel judged or unsupported. Maybe a conversation about it could help us both understand where it's coming from. Somebody else said, whatever happens, you're not the jerk. There is a possibility, again, that she's suffering from severe delusions and needs a psychiatrist like yesterday. It's not necessarily dangerous, but it's certainly unpredictable. The more likely case is that she's always used him as a manipulation tactic. Any disagreement in your relationship will end up with you being ganged up on. Tom will always cast the tie-breaking vote. Spoiler, he'll always side with her. And OP has said, yep, Tom's definitely the ultimate yes man. I swear, he never disagrees with her. It's like I'm in a relationship with a built-in tiebreaker that I can never win. Maybe I should get my own imaginary friend for backup. I wonder if she'd let Jerry cast a vote. Oh God, imagine if he did that. Just a constant 2-all, be awful. So then the next day we got this update. All right, buckle up because things just got even stranger. Really? I didn't think that was possible, but anyway. After reading all of your comments, seriously, you guys are killing me with the give Tom a girlfriend and charge him rent suggestions. I decided it was finally time to have the talk with Sarah about Tom. So, we're sitting there, and I gently bring up how Tom's presence in our relationship is, well, a bit much. She laughs at first, but then suddenly gets this serious look and says, okay, I guess it's time I told you the truth about Tom. Now, I'm thinking she's going to just say he's a silly thing she made up as a kid. I guess how I said it earlier, guys. But no, she takes a deep breath and tells me that Tom wasn't just an imaginary friend. He was her boyfriend back in high school. Yep, that's right. Apparently, Tom was her ideal boyfriend during her teenage years when, in her words, real boys were just disappointments. She used to imagine him as this super supportive, hilarious guy who'd always take her side and hype her up. And somehow, even after she started dating actual people, Tom just stuck around. Now I'm sitting there thinking, great, I'm in a love triangle with an imaginary high school boyfriend. She reassures me that it's not like that now, but I can't help but wonder if I'm competing with the ultimate perfect boyfriend who is literally too good to be true. So, I guess I'll try to make peace with my invisible rival, but just so you know, if I ever hear her whisper, thanks Tom, under her breath again, I might actually lose it. Okay, yeah, well that somehow has weirded me out even more than the first post. I don't really know how to react to that. A lot to unpack there, guys. I think is the only real thing that I can say with confidence. I don't know what is going on there. A few things have just immediately come to my mind. Firstly, maybe she was very lonely in school and like Tom was her sort of like friend, boyfriend, someone to be with when other people weren't there with her. It seems weird that like a popular kid or like, not even a popular kid, a kid that had friends and dated people and had boyfriends would be like, oh, I hate all men, therefore I'm going to make up an imaginary boyfriend who is perfect. and then even later in life doesn't then realize how weird that is, or doesn't say, okay, yeah, that was a kind of a weird high school thing for me to do. Let me actually stop being weird now and not talk to a person that doesn't exist when I'm actually in a relationship with someone that I quite like. I mean, who knows how she feels about you really, but there you go. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Secondly, halfway through reading that, when she said, okay, I'm going to tell you the truth about Tom and it being a boyfriend back in school, I thought maybe she did actually have a boyfriend called Tom back in school who passed away or tragically died, and then, you know, she's never really gotten over that, or that was her way to deal with the grief. But no, I think what I read is actually even weirder than that. I don't know. Yeah, I think it actually is weirder. And then thirdly, I'm not sure if I could be with somebody that did this sort of thing, because even if she was really nice and fun and cool or whatever, like every time you ever have a conversation with her now, you're just going to be thinking that she's going back and forth with Tom about it in her head or out loud. Like, again, if you hear, as you said at the end, if you hear her whispering to Tom, how is that going to make you feel? Now, I think the main thing is how you go forward from this is all about her reaction to this. If you say, just like, by the way, this is actually really weird what you're doing, and she says, okay, I get it, it is, and then you try and fix it somehow, or like, you know, come to some sort of agreement or get some therapy ideally to work out exactly what's going on here, then fine, and that would be great. But if not, I don't know. Like, it's a bit too weird for me. Maybe if that's what you're into, if you're into your partner having an imaginary boyfriend, then go ahead. But you guys let me know in the comments down below. I don't think I could actually be in a serious relationship with somebody that actually confided in someone that didn't exist. It's probably where I'm going with this. Let me know if you agree with me down below. As always, very interested to hear your thoughts, especially on a story at... Jesus Christ, what the f***? I thought that was Tom. I don't know what noise that is. God, that actually... Can we get a replay on that jump scare? That actually scared me. Jesus. But anyway, guys, yeah, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by Tom, drop a comment down below. Does Tom actually exist after all?